Hey all, it is the 27th of May. Just had the Memorial Day weekend. I spent a lot of the time in the shop working on Jeep trailer, getting that ready to go out wheeling this weekend, go up to northern Arizona, get some camping done with the family that we weren't able to do during the the time over the holiday because my wife was working most of the days, and so plus was able to prep up the trailer. All those early mornings I was doing, still couldn't get the trailer done. So I'm going to do another video at the end of the week from camp, so you can check out the trailers. Get a lot of stuff done. That thing is pretty cool. But where we are, some interesting information came out in the market today. There was a bank rate survey done, which is really kind of an interesting bit of data. 50% of the unemployed folks out there have tapped into their retirement. So people are having to dig into their savings to keep things moving. The most interesting part of that is 20% of people that are employed have had to tap into their retirement plan, or had indicated that they plan to tap into their retirement plan. So that's kind of a freaky thing. If you're, when I'm talking about my retirement funds, and if I'm taking money from that, it better be going into something that's going to help build my wealth for the future. But I also understand that you have to live off that. When I look backwards in my life of all the decisions I had to make, and especially after 2008, I had to liquidate everything. And then, not only 2008 happened that I had to liquidate everything, but also, the market crashing, there was a lot lost. So what I tapped into was a fraction of what was there because of what had happened in the market. So, I go with the safe stuff. That's one thing I've learned: the safer bets in life. I know there's a lot of Hail Marys out there that we've seen, a lot of 70-yard touchdowns, man, long bombs that pay off, but we've seen a lot of long bombs that don't. And so I talk a little bit about that in book number 5. That's going to be coming out here soon. Just waiting on a few steps before we release that one. That I talked a little bit about what happened there, and what it felt like to have all this potential great opportunity that ends up just putting money in other people's hands. So be cautious with that. That's one of the reasons I really gravitate to the real estate investment, especially the cash flow real estate investments. We talked about some of the ways that people benefit. When you look at this as a business, the benefits are huge. The tax deductibility. You're talking about the amortization of the loan. Inflation, how that helps you. Just being able to leverage long, and pay off slow changes everything. But you got to understand it here first. So let's step into what the market is doing for us right now. So we kind of see how things are working in the bonds. So we're looking at the 3.5 coupon here, and it's still trading right there in that flat level. We've got the stocks are way up right now on, when it comes to the economy opening back up slowly, potential virus, I guess, some sort of potential way of being able to immunize people because of the virus, all that's all having a bearing on what stocks is doing. So it's taking some jumps, some leaps, but the Fed is it's putting more back in there. 4.8, 4.9 trillion today billion, 4.8, 4.9 billion. Let's not get too crazy with the number, but look where we're at here. The bonds are very, very stable. They've had a lot of volatility. They've been volatile in the past. Volatility will work its way into the market somewhere, but for right now, they're keeping it nice and stable. We've got the 30-day moving average, and it looks like the 10-day moving average here are two that are squeezing the bonds right now. Being the fact we have two levels of support here, you can see these support lines plus the averages. We got that plus 2 levels of support plus a 30-day moving average sitting, or actually the 10-day moving average sitting below there helps support it. But we also look, our resistance plus the 30-day is above it. It's got to break somewhere, or it just keeps getting squeezed down that middle. So we'll see how this plays out. Looking at the 4.0 coupon, you can see how that one's playing out as well. The trading is being mainly dictated, from what I can tell, that this is the information I'm understanding, getting dictated by what the Fed is putting in there. You see a little bit broader trading range, still a squeeze though, still keeping it a little bit more gap for it to be able to play in. Now, another thing that we found rather interesting, as I'm looking at some of the market information, has a lot to do with new home sales. For a little while there, we were looking at new home sales being down. They did down year over year. We had seen that had dropped as much as 35% year over year since last April. Big drop, and now all of a sudden it's making a comeback. So now we're seeing applications to purchase homes rose 9%, putting it 9% higher than this time last year, which is really interesting that we've seen that much of a swing up. Now, refinances are still flat, but that's still up 176% year over year. So goes to show the refis are still going out there, still punching money in there, still putting a lot of our servicing side at risk, if you will. The reason why we have those points being charged up front has a lot to do with the fact that these refis are happening so fast. So with us still having a lot of refis, we may still see that servicing demand for money up front continuing to affect our the closing costs on the lower down payment stuff. Lower down payment for the investors being 20% and 15%. So that's something to also know about. That is not going. It doesn't look like it's going away anytime soon. As far as forbearance news, there's about 4.2 million mortgages right now in forbearance, which is 8.4% of mortgages, which is up from 8.2%. So, but interestingly enough, roughly, high 30s, low 40s, say average 40% of the people in forbearance are still making their payments. So what they did, they set it up, got the information in there, got the paperwork in there just in case. So I can understand the caution, makes a lot of sense, but they're still making their payments. So those of you who are worried about people not making their rent, I'm hearing that rents were being made across the board still. So we've got a lot of cool stuff going on out there that we've been concerned about, that we're seeing people are still paying their bills. They're still paying their rent. They're still paying their mortgages. Yes, there are plenty of people out there that are in dire need of the forbearance, and I'm definitely not one who's going to advocate not using that tool if you need it, but don't use the tool if it's something you don't need. Remember, as a real estate investor, it's so far been very, very safe investments. Look at the numbers. Be sure you understand all of it before you jump into anything. Don't jump in it just because a pro forma looks awesome. Really understand what you're getting into. Then, speaking of investments, my background here is another angle of the place out there in Missouri. You can check it all out. Phenomenal spot. I can't wait to do an actual one of these from the location. Should be able to do that within the next 30 days. Get back out there, get back on the plains. But thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for subscribing, to the channel. Thank you to those who are giving me feedback on the books, and they're jumping into the Master Key. This is a life-changing process to go into the Master Key. Those who are buying the Master Key on Amazon are also buying the 4 QJO initiative books. Awesome. It's to me, it's really cool to be associated with a book like the Master Key System and something like that. So keep giving me the feedback. Anything you want to hear about, shoot me the comments. I'm gonna get better at reading them. I'll sorry to those who I had delayed on their responses. I didn't realize they were there. I mean, this is how new some of this stuff is to me. So I'm gonna continue to keep giving the best data I can, and we'll talk to you guys again real soon.